I hope you're doing well. Good to see you all. Monday, fabulous Monday, magnificent Monday, whatever. Idaho 4 case, timeline reset. It's really, really amazing how when they arrested Kohlberger, they reset the timeline. I don't think they had the timeline right to start with. There are some events that we know, that we've gathered, that timestamp certain things to contradict what LE, prosecution, are saying. So there's a discrepancy between Xana's dad and what he says versus DM and BF. Prosecution LE chose DM and BF's statement, which absolutely contradicted Xana's dad. Who do you believe? Okay, let's get into this. Now, welcome to 1111 True Crime. I'm Mama D. We do have a live audience. We're going to be talking about this in the actual timeline based on the events, and I only gathered a few of them. You guys can add more to this on things that you know. Not rumors that you heard that Bethany got pregnant by Jack. There's nothing in any paperwork. No parent said that. No sister, brother. Nobody has said that. That's just something somebody came up with. You can choose to believe it if you want to, but, I mean, there's nothing that we have that says that. But there are things in this case that we can anchor, if you will. I'm getting comfortable for this because I want to dig in deep. So we know that Bethany was at Sigma Chi. There was a party at Sigma Chi that night. We know that Bethany arrived home around 1:45-ish. That kind of makes it sound like the party ended. She come home. The party's done, 1:45 a.m. Now, here's the deal. That's the exact time that DM and BF are saying Xana and Ethan arrived home. Is at 1:45 a.m. That Sigma Chi party was over with. So that would mean that Bethany and Xana and Ethan all stumbled in together. However, how can that be? Because Xana was speaking to her father at midnight, already home at 1122 King Road, on her cell phone to her daddy, telling him all hell had broken loose, a fight over at Sigma Chi. Apparently they left earlier. So we have that at midnight. That should be able to be proved on a phone call. Where was that phone call made from? Where did it, what tower? Oh, you can't do that because you only have one tower in Moscow. Okay, I get that. Good for the goose, good for the gander. All right. So either... Oh, and then we have Ethan Chapin's mother stating that Hunter, who ends up checking on these guys and finding them. Anyway, Hunter walks, or is it the brother Hunter? I don't know. Hunter walks Ethan and Xana home that night after said fight. Now, she doesn't say fight. She acts like, or says, I don't know why. But then Hunter's okay to walk alone back. So now we've got this squabble going on before midnight because Xana and Ethan are leaving. So right now already, either Bethany and Dylan are absolutely fudging, or lying if you want to call it that, or Jeff, the dad of Xana, is lying. Feel me? Because they didn't do both. They're not just getting home from the party at 1:45 a.m., but they really got home at midnight. What? So, in that, if that's a load of shite, and they really did get home just like Xana's dad is implying with that phone call that they're eating pizza, gonna watch a movie at home 11:22, right? Then already you have the two roommates that are unharmed, altering the timeline at the beginning of the night by over an hour and 45 minutes. That's a big deal when they're the only two survivors, if you want to call them that. They're left unharmed. It's coincidental also that Bethany doesn't pipe up about Xana and Ethan not being at Sigma Chi at 1:45 a.m. because she was there, remember? She was at the Sigma Chi till 1:45 a.m. and she states she had seen Ethan and Xana earlier in the night. See how it all comes together right there? Now, Bethany allegedly comes home at 1:45 a.m. But the girls, Bethany and DM, report to the police what time everybody seemed to come home, and they all seem to come home when the party of Sigma Chi is over. Well, that's just coincidental. All hell breaks loose at Sigma Chi. So Xana and Ethan leave. They go back to their place. In my opinion, I'm going with Jeff, the dad of Xana. Why would he lie? All right. So before midnight, around midnight, they're already eating pizza. Where'd they get the pizza from? They had to have cooked it unless they're eating cold pizza. So maybe even as early as 11:30 they got home. Now, I find it interesting. Let me look at my notes so I don't miss something. Right. Okay. So Ellie obviously are aware that Xana talked to her dad. Why didn't they follow that up and find out where she was? Because I think he would have told them, which would have provided a big issue because now they're making a decision. All right, so the dad's saying he talked to these people and they were at the house. But then the roommates are saying they don't get home till an hour and 45 minutes later. When you add up what we know now from the text messages to the 911 call and all of that, who would you put your money on? Jeff, the dad of Xana, being right? Or would you put your money on DM and Bethany being right? Because if you choose Jeff, then you and I are both on the same page that there's something wrong from the get-go, because we are missing an hour and 45 minutes of time. Coincidentally, after 1:45, 9 minutes later or so, what is it? Something like that. Kaylee and Maddie are going to arrive home after Bethany says she's home. What's really weird is when I think about everybody and they're like, okay, well, Xana was alive till after 4 because of DoorDash. Let's talk about it. The girl's body is laying on the floor. You have her finger and you have her eyes. You can access that phone. But here's the deal. Xana would have had to order that DoorDash approximately 45 minutes earlier for it to arrive, because they've got to make it, they've got to bake it, they've got to pack it, they've got to get it there. We all know it's not a 5-minute deal. You don't order it, here you go. So if it was Xana at all, that would put her closer to 3 a.m. of placing the order. Coincidentally, at 1:56 a.m., the girls get home. It is then a series of 10 texts and calls between Maddie and Kaylee's phone. At 2:52 a.m. on the nose, and Kaylee's the only phone that does this, her phone disconnects from the entire network after texting to the ex. So her phone disconnects. Then it would put it approximately 10 to 15 minutes later that Xana would be placing this DoorDash. So let's back up. There's a fight at Sigma Chi. Xana and Ethan go home. Hunter walks them home. They're hungry. It's early in the night for them. What if when this party at 1:45 let go was exactly when these people, because they would want to be present at the party so that it's not like, oh, well, we were missing 5, right? So they'll stay for the party. But then what if the timeline is legitimately an hour to 2 hours earlier than the police are saying? So I asked the question, how many of you, okay, let me read the question because it's on our poll. Why do you feel Kaylee's phone disconnected from the network at 2:52 a.m.? A, Kaylee shut it off, 11%. B, her battery died, 14%. C, perp had Kaylee's phone, 66%. And then D, Kaylee dropped phone, broke it. Get your votes in, you guys. There's a lot of you here. Make sure you're voting so that your vote is heard and we get an overall general. All right, so if you believe at 2:52, when that phone of Kaylee's disconnects from the network, if you're with me on that the perp had it, then we need to back it up. Boom, 1:52, let's back it up to 1:45. Bethany's getting home. It's because Sigma Chi's party is done. So between 1:45 and 2:52, or even before that, when did the calls start? Like 2:30-ish, 2:34 or something? So between 1:52 and 2:34 is when I believe, honest to God, that this attack occurred. Xana having her locks changed, Xana calling her dad in panic, Xana and Ethan having to be walked home. It's all pointing to the Sigma Chi. They're on foot. They're close enough to do this. I'm not saying they did. I'm saying it's super sus to us. When you really look at this timing, at 1:56 is when Kaylee and Maddie are getting home. So if 1:45 is the beginning of the attack, it would make sense that Kaylee and Maddie walked into this crap, because that is a very short time apart. It could be even just minutes apart from the time the attack starts to the time it's over. Now, I thought about that call, or not that call, that ring cam footage on Linda Lane. We listened to it at 1:56. You can hear, and I have not a doubt in my heart. You have your own opinion. I can only share mine. I can't speak for you, but in my opinion, that is Ethan screaming gutturally, "Xana!" And it's heartbreaking. That happens at 1:56 a.m. on that timestamp. And I was wondering, we've all talked about there not being a scene of blood anywhere inside that house other than their bedrooms, which only leaves the exits of the windows as a possibility, right? Ethan's blocking the door, right? They can't get in the door. Xana, Ethan, and they're not getting in. They're not getting in. All right. What if the window was open while the attack went on in that room? That could still be picked up over there on that camera. And it still happened inside that house. Because if they did decide to attack him by coming up that, using that ladder, and coming up on Xana's roof, it could have been as if they're joking around. They're all pranksters, right? Could have been somebody that they thought they could trust, or just somebody that they thought they were just going to be like, what? And the perp could have knocked on the window, and Xana just flipped it up, right? Now, Ethan's going downstairs to answer the door because the other perp is knocking. So it separated the two. They waited for Ethan to go downstairs. That's a drop of blood that's about to happen down there. I think Ethan, when he went downstairs, was suspicious and grabbed his golf club out of that spare room. And I think he went to the front door. Meanwhile, while he's distracted and out of the room, Xana has flipped open the window to talk to whoever this is. And now they full-blown came in and attacked her window wide open. Then Ethan comes running up the stairs into her room and sees all that and is screaming her name. Xana! And the window's open. Meanwhile, he's then attacked from behind, thrown on the bed. Xana's on the floor by the window, no less, which is right where they're explaining she is. Right? And then what are they going to do? They're all going to leave out that window. Now, all they're going to do if they're got more targets, if the fortune's right, and they're still looking for Mads, all right? They got a balcony. They could have had another set go after them too. And they'd be clean as a whistle, chasing the girls up the stairs. They'd go to the little room, like I said. I think it was yesterday. Kaylee could have had a K-bar knife. And she could have pulled it, thrown the sheath on the bed. And that's how somebody got a cut-up hand and ended up with a glove in the backyard. Not saying that happened, but I'm saying the timing could be there. Now, if that all happened, and the perp really has at 2:52 a.m. Kaylee's phone, which majority is saying yes, then it would make sense that the next thing would be a little bit later that DoorDash is going to happen. The order's going to get placed. Why wouldn't the perp have Xana's phone? Because now who's going to find it? Who's going to find the crime scene? DoorDash, because the door's going to be open for them. And they're going to think that means, come on in. Could that have been, I'm here to help you, and then this guy see how bad this scene is and just freaked the hell out and ran? I don't know. But he waited over a week to say, hey, I'm a DoorDash driver. I dropped something off. We never hear who received the food or if anybody did. There's some Jack in the Box slung up on the counter that could be over a week old. We don't know anything about that DoorDash, really. All we know is they say that sometime after 4, Xana received a DoorDash. It never says she ordered it. Somebody could have placed the order and had it sent to her as a gift. Made a calling card for her. Could have been a burner phone. I don't know. Did they even trace any of that? But this timeline is off because either Bethany and Dylan have this absolutely incorrect about Xana and Ethan because they couldn't have arrived at 1:45 and left the party because of a fight and called her dad in panic at midnight. Something's wrong there. So, with the call, the 911 call, we hear, poor Kaylee. That is not the response that you would think you would hear from what I've heard that this scene looked like ever under a million years. The beginning of that call was so disproportionate to what should have been going on because they're saying they don't know what happened. So why are they so upset? Why is the shock coming over them? They haven't seen anything. All they've heard is a couple things, and they weren't shook up the night before. So now what made them call 911 at that moment? What triggered them, right? So it's all a bunch of mixed match stuff with the texting between the two. You never hear either one of them think of calling 911. Maybe there's more to the text that we don't see, but they don't call 911, so it really don't matter. It's not done, even though they're terrified. And now, I have no reason to doubt Xana's dad, who talked to Xana himself at midnight. She was home already. So if this all took place at we'll even say 1:50, 2 o'clock. We'll go 2 o'clock on the nose, 2 a.m. That's a full 2 hours prior to LE. And Brian Kohlberger would have still been sitting in his house, probably vacuuming. And that's why it's not going to be 2 o'clock. Because it won't work for the prosecution. And they have put everything, including their own face, their reputation, their honor on the line. That it's Kohlberger. And they will reset that timeline. And they will change up that car. And they will do whatever it takes to make this fit Kohlberger. Because his DNA is on that little tiny button of that sheath. Huh. And where'd they get the DNA? We'll have to talk about that at another time. So, let me look and make sure I didn't forget something. Oh yeah, I had a question. Could that be why Kaylee's bed was never made? I never believed that the two girls were in bed asleep together, because they have a beautiful large bed in Kaylee's room and a much larger room. If you're going to sleep together, you're going to want that room. And but they had to keep Murphy in there. Why wouldn't you put the dog in the smaller room? Something ain't right there. And so that was weird. And then that might mean that it happened much earlier in the night, before the girls even got to the bed to turn it down. The other thing is, why did it bother Kaylee's mother so much that Murphy's kennel remained in Kaylee's vehicle? That bewildered her. And I think it's because that's where Murphy sleeps. And it wasn't brought up. It was as if she didn't have time to get the kennel upstairs. Again, it made me think, yeah, this happened a lot sooner. There was no prep for bed, no time for that. No, this happened much earlier in my book. And then the question is, and people are always like, you go after the roommates, whatever. Listen to me. Bethany's part of Sigma Chi in some way. I know it's a frat and blah, blah, blah. She's at that party. She's somebody's guest. She's back in Sigma Chi. She's at the party. All right? Now, Xana wouldn't have been at that party unless she was with Ethan, Sigma Chi. So who's Bethany's connection to Sigma Chi? It's there. Next, Dylan's the one that lured Kaylee back. And Kaylee wanted Maddie to come back because Maddie was off boating with her boyfriend. So with Dylan's action of getting Kaylee to come back, that means that not only was Kaylee back, but Maddie came too. And then Bethany hanging out at Sigma Chi. And who did they call? Sigma Chi. First ones on the scene. So they can reset the timeline, so can we. And Xana and Ethan were at the house, according to Jeff, around midnight. So that means, in my book, in my humble opinion, that Dylan and Bethany knew damn well that they were messing with the timeline. Would have only taken checking Xana's phone to see what time she talked to her dad and then interviewing him for the authorities to know the truth and know that Dylan and Bethany are totally wrong. But they never seem to bring any of this investigation up about why would that not matter? That'd be a legal thing that Cy Ray could bring up on somebody else's phone, maybe, huh? That's interesting for me. I don't know. What do you guys think? What are your thoughts? Right. BF had a thing for Jack Showalter in high school. Well, we do have a picture of them hanging out together. I don't know if they had a thing for each other or not, but they're comfortable. And they are in high school. They're very young. We do have that. Hey, Natural Healing. Agree. I've always felt Xana and Ethan were home for a bit before the attack, in my opinion. I really honestly feel they split them up to ensure that they could take them out. So that would mean there would be an intruder either at the back door or at, and I really think it's the front door. Somebody just acting like they're at the door. Hey! And Ethan came down. And that's when I believe that golf club that's still in evidence. The Chapins have never got back Ethan's golf clubs. And I've always wondered if he used it as a weapon, because he went downstairs and grabbed it to get to that front door because something freaked them out. I mean, they were already in defensive mode. They had somebody walk them home. They had just dealt with a fight. I can't even imagine. You know what? Ethan may have grabbed that golf club and brought it to bed with him. Because a man is going to have weapons if he feels fight or flight. We just had the fight and he fled. Now he's going to get prepared. I'll bet you money that he had a golf club ready, or at least he thought about and grabbed it. What are you guys' thoughts? Let's see what the listening audience, our beautiful family, has to say. Hey, Vicky Penny, hello. You agree they had to point out that Xana was drunk? They couldn't just point out that she was unconscious. I find that suspicious too. If she's so drunk, she's at home eating pizza. Very good point. It is painting her in a bad light. And she got home early, so she wouldn't have been drunk that late in the day. Natural Healing says, I've always felt that Xana either home for that. Oh, I read that. Aw, thank you. You said you just want to mention in passing by that my hair color looks so beautiful. Well, thank you, dear. I appreciate that. Ocean Deep says, yeah, Mama Day, they appear so guilty. If innocent, it would show us that they are innocent. They call was absolutely poop. Okay, thank you, Ocean. Christina 1111, you say yes, it also makes sense putting her in a bad light. This case is so crazy, I think it's hard to let our minds really see it. Bug, some of us do. I know, Jenny Bill, it makes my head spin too. Critical Minds. That's why we call you Critical Mind. You get a goat. Get ready. Trigger warning. Gold star. You get a gold star. Critical Minds is asking, Mama D, why aren't Ethan's siblings on the 911 call? We know they were there, and Ethan's sister would be hysterical if they saw Ethan. We don't hear anybody hysterical, do we? The only one, and that's Dylan going Blair Witching it on the phone. That's Dylan, by the way. She has the phone the whole time. Not the whole time. At that point I'm talking about. That's Dylan Blair Witching it. Because the man, the guy, you can hear is much further in distance. Get out, right? Alicia Wykander said, did the girls buy rugs from BK? Nikki K, yeah, it does have a lot more questions than answers, right? Carolyn Miller, I didn't hear an inconsolable voice. I'm sorry. I heard nothing. No hysterics. No, nothing. All I heard was, poor Kaylee. And, before that, I heard Dylan doing the whole I think she was just like, over putting it. Well, Blair Witching is what it sounded like to me. Like she saw the movie and she's like, this'll sound good. Pam Soderlove, when it comes to the tunnels, I looked at the schematics. I did not see tunnels under that place in the schematics I saw. Now, I'm not saying there aren't tunnels, but even when they ripped the half of the house away and there was that big open doorway, if you will, that was way up on the middle floor, not on the basement level, which would have to be. So there was nothing on the bottom. I just personally don't think there were tunnels underneath the exact house, according to what I've seen. Where's your goat, Vicky Penny? Yeah, why no dog barking on the 911 call? Good point, Jennyville. Excellent point. All right, let me check my notes real quick. Yeah. At 2:52 a.m. is when Kaylee's phone disconnects for the final time ever from the network. And the Gonzaleses have never stated that they ever got Kaylee's phone back. They fought for a lot longer. Everybody else, they said, had their phones back. So that's really strange. It's almost as if somebody pulled the SIM card and the battery so that they could keep the phone itself. I could be totally wrong. We'll find out someday if the phone is actually in evidence or not, but I find that very sus if Kaylee's phone is the only one missing. Just saying. Carolyn Miller, third floor, had a wide space on wall. Wide space on wall near Kaylee's room on the tear down. I'm sorry, I don't know what that means. Very sus, right, Laura? Hi, Christina again. You said, could police be involved on the take? I don't know. So much cover-up planting, hard not to wonder. Okay. Apollonia Bradley says, Xana Golf Club hitting perp that was attacking Ethan. Oh, could be. Maybe they swapped out the phones. Yep, you're right about Blair Witching it. Thanks, Vicky. Cheeky Minx, good to see you. Very sus. What messages Kaylee had on her phone for it to go missing? Yes. Lee McKenna, good to see you. No blood on Murphy. Remember, he ran off. And we don't know if he ran off. We have no idea if he ran off. But yeah, there was no blood on him. Hey, Ray and Ned again. One lookout, at least one to control upstairs, one to control downstairs, and one getaway driver. Think they had a driver? I don't think so. Why involve a car if you can just scoot out of there and within 20 feet you're nothing but a college student just like everybody else walking away? True, El Borque says with the right tools, you can disconnect Wi-Fi from cameras and phones. But Kaylee's was the only one, according to the Gonzaleses, that disconnected from the actual network. Only Kaylee's at exactly 2:52. Okay, Ocean Deep has the idea that maybe it was Kaylee's phone could have been smashed up and replaced with a clean phone. Hey, Bunny, you said, I'm still wanting to know why that officer took a picture of Kaylee's ID. You and a million other of us. I agree. Hey, Linda Annie. OMG, Mama D, I just watched a video you need to see. I have chills. I'll email you. All right. Aw, Chinky Mix. Thank you, lovely. Cheeky Minx. I have a hard time saying that all together. Sorry. Thank you so incredibly much for the $5 snooper chat. Thank you. Nope. We don't know if the drains were checked. I wish we knew that. That would help. Independent thoughts thinks they planned this out in advance and turns their stomach if they did. Yeah. You think DM had our phone, Linda? Jennyville says, I think they messed up their own story from the get-go, and it's like a game of telephone where you whisper in the ears and see how much it changes. Hi, Carol Jogging Mama. I would love to see all the text messages from that night. Well, all we get are little pieces, I think. Thank you so much. Hey, Joyful, how you doing? All right, my lovelies, that is all I have for you today. That's my notes, but I do wonder about that bedroom window being open and if that golf club was pulled by Ethan to protect, they're in this. I mean, Xana's calling her dad, talking about that, and her dad's like, I should come over there and to protect her. And so I feel that Ethan would have went and got his own golf club, maybe all of them, I don't know, to possibly use if needed be. But that plus that whole door changing, the fight over there, having to be walked home, it all points to shit went down that night. And if Xana and Ethan were home already by midnight, this could have happened as early as 1:50, because it would have been about 5 minutes after the Sigma Chi party let out. That way nobody knew who was missing from the party, right? Everybody was there. Wasn't us. We were all at the party. Thank you. Thank you so much. You're going to watch on replay. All right, my lovelies, it's that time of the day. I will not be on tomorrow unless something amazing happens. I have a house to clean, and I'm going to try a new painting technique. New to me. I'm going to try a new painting technique and just flow art. Never tried it in my life. Totally wildly nervous about it. But hey, all that could go wrong is me just splatter paint all over my kitchen, right? I love you guys so much. Thank you for your support. Thank you for hitting the like button. And I got a lot more stuff to talk to you about, like the backyard and the glove that had blood in it. But hey, all for another day very, very soon. I love you guys. To the moon and back.